After that, there were many nights when we lay in the glow of candles placed on the floor around the bed, while Howard talked about art and life and further explained me to myself. Once I'd filled in the basics, he made my saying much about Scotland or my father unnecessary, and anyway I preferred to listen to him mulling things over for me. It was comforting to have my overwrought teenage self dismantled and reassembled, to be told not just who I was, but who I was to become. It was good to have my grieving overlooked. At the end of 3 weeks, it was good when physical fulfillment was accomplished, again without too much being asked of me. That's the truth of it. Howard promised me heaven on earth and delivered me from my unhappiness, and I was desperate to be moulded into any shape that pleased my new saviour. Our feelings stood up well enough against my criteria, assembled from chat with the benignly envious Americans, magazine articles with titles such as "How do you know if it's the real thing?" plus the vestiges of my abandoned God fervour, to qualify as falling in love, and so I called it that. Enthralled, I wrote my mother a long letter all about him, except physical fulfillment, of course, and the miraculous change in my life. 7 pages filled with love and praise. And Howard, he became playful. Almost daily I was taken aback by some small, impulsive kindness or other. My lunch apple polished on his sleeve to an absurd gloss. An old silver sixpence that turned up in my change pierced through and threaded on a leather bootlace for me to wear around my neck for good luck, when neither of us had a notion we'd ever need any. In the evenings we talked and read poetry aloud, holding hands. We laughed over the strange, cheap meals we cooked together on the single gas ring. We brushed each other's long hair. At times, I caught him looking at me with an expression on his face so unguarded and adoring, I resolved to keep secret from him forever how ordinary I was. He was delighted, I think, by my determination not to return home after the course finished. For although my role as follower to his leader was established by then, I did rather put my foot down about staying with him. But he was in love too. As he told me one evening in the airless bedsit, what he realized now was that he'd been more or less permanently in love, meaning in the abstract, in search of an object for it, living all this time in a heightened state of being on a quest for meaning and ecstasy. And now he had me. He was completely sincere. I needed no more than that. But when he went on to inform me that we would get married, a proposal requiring my consent could not have been further from our minds, then truly my cup ran over. My mother's arthritis prevented her from travelling down to reason with me, and Auntie Joan thought that since I had no alternative plans for a career, I might as well make a go of it. When I turned 18 the following June, Howard and I got married in a registry office in Finchley. It wasn't a proper wedding, of course. We downplayed the whole thing, as if some higher truth about marriage lay in a refusal to celebrate it with the usual trappings. I wore an Indian print dress in green and white, and a few beads in my hair, and afterward we picnicked on Hampstead Heath with some friends of Howard's, who brought guitars and marijuana. We didn't invite anybody, and my mother couldn't have attended anyway, but relieved we were no longer living in sin, she sent us her blessing. Auntie Joan sent a cheque with instructions to spend it on learning something useful. I knew she meant shorthand and typing, but I enrolled in a course in textile crafts and spent the mornings spinning and weaving. I waitressed in the afternoons and evenings, while Howard got a job in a crammer, tutoring people for exam resits. The following year his mother died and left him a little money, and still, or again, in search of meaning and ecstasy, he decided we had to get out of London. The idea of spiritual and creative renewal through self-sufficiency on an Exmoor smallholding he got from somebody else, or from a magazine, I don't remember exactly, but he made it sound like his own, and of course I was happy to follow. It seemed to me that too many things of an almost unbearable nature had...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.